Welcome to Billionaire Business. In this series, we try and explode the myth that you can't build another billion-pound business in the UK, because it's just not true. My name's Ian Fishwick. I'm a serial entrepreneur in the UK tech industry. I've done 43 mergers and acquisitions in this sector.
And I'm 𝗚𝗏𝘳𝗏𝗀𝗍. I've been advising on M&A deals and fundraisings for over 2 decades in predominantly the tech sector. And these are businesses with valuation of up to $1 billion and more.
And we have been growing about 30-35% every year.
How do you decide which country to go into next?
Selecting the right people is the most important thing. Because if we get people who shy away from making decisions, they will mess up the business, right?
There are many thousands of family businesses around the world. This one we're going to talk to today is just a little bit different, right? It's a great pleasure to introduce Jahangir Ahmad from Nets International. Lovely to see you.
Same here. Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Ian, for inviting us.
What makes you very, very different is that you decided to go global, which is quite big for a family decision. So can you just give us the background, introduce Nets, tell us the kind of products that you do, because it's a very interesting story.
Yeah, starting with Nets, we are infrastructure solution provider, plus we are a telecom system integrator, primarily driven towards the IT side. So on the infrastructure side, we are into planning, designing, implementing fiber networks, wireless networks for telcos, for broadband operators. And on the technology digital solution side, we are doing solutions around enterprise networking, cybersecurity, cloud networking, and automation. This is for the enterprises. It's not, sector dependent, but it's again like you take the requirements, you stitch the solutions for them so that it generates some business outcomes using technology. So these are the 2 major areas we work primarily around telcos and large enterprises.
And give us a sense of the size of the business and a little bit about the heritage, Jahangir.
So the company was started by my father and his brother back in 1983. He started as a marketing engineering company. I joined the company.
And this was in Pakistan, right? So,
this was in Pakistan. And I joined the company graduating out of the US in 2001. And as soon as I joined, it was telecom deregulation happening in Pakistan. International investors and telecom operators like Waaree Telecom, Telenors, and these people were coming in, and they were looking to engage companies who can deploy these solutions on a large scale. And having a company heritage around IT and telecom solutions, we became an automatic choice. And being in the father's company, I had to work pretty much in all the roles, in project management, in sales, in pre-sale, around technology. So it gave a very quick learning in a very short period of time. And interacting with all these international companies on a large scale, I think was a great opportunity.
So how many countries do you operate in now, and how many people have you got?
Yeah, currently we are in 8 countries. We are 800 plus people. And starting from Pakistan, we went to Dubai back in 2010, Saudi Arabia in 2016, UK in 2020. We started Germany and the US in 2024, and Canada in early 2025, as well as Azerbaijan.
Incredible story, and we'll come on to the internationalization, but I am intrigued. I mean, you took over from your dad in the early 2000s, right? What was his advice to you? And it's a responsibility to be CEO at a pretty young age, I would guess, in any business. But when your father is handing over the keys to you, that's an even bigger challenge.
So my father was a very practical man. He started engaging us in business while we were even doing O-levels and A-levels. So we used to do intern during the summers, as well as practically involved working with the teams, whether on the sales side, whether on the implementation side. So, and he was always of the opinion that by the time you graduate, you should exactly know what you want to do. And he wanted to test his mantra on his own kids, So I'm the product of his belief that get into practical world, as early as possible. because he had wasted about 3-4 years of his life coming out of university, not exactly knowing what to do. So by the time I graduated, I had 6 job offers. And I exactly knew why did I want to go to a certain company to get what, So, and in the meantime, he always said to me that I will always advise you. You need to make your own decisions. So he taught us to make decisions. And I think that's extremely important in the business world, that don't be scared of, making decisions.
How long? So did you start working for your dad and then your dad stepped back to let you take control?
So I started, I joined the company in 2001. My dad was, he was putting me into different roles, positions.
Yeah.
He sent me for international exhibition while I was, only 16 to Malaysia. And while in Pakistan, he sent to me a lot of exhibitions or international meetings, giving us exposure how to deal with companies internationally. So I think it's and by the time we got into more and more senior roles, in middle management and then eventually senior management in 2005, he made me the CEO of the company. So 5 years I was working along with him. Then he expired in 2006, but I had already taken on as a CEO of the company then. And we were one of the biggest IT companies in Pakistan by that time.
Okay, so your dad died, sadly, a year after you took over. So all of that international expansion then, if the first one was 2010, came from you. So did you have to persuade the rest of the family to do that? How does the family work in terms of deciding things?
So what happened was that while the company became one of the top IT companies back in 2006, like all the graduates would like to do, they want to make an exit of the company, make some money, and they also have. I always had aspirations to go international. So one of our biggest customers was Vateen Telecom and Waaree Telecom. They wanted to make a system integration arm, so they suggested to acquire our company. So I agreed, and for the next 2 years, I was working to integrate the existing company as a system integration arm. Now they call like a digital arm of a telecom company. But when I went into the company, I realized that their ambitions are more local, and they're not, very aggressive about going international. So I spent the next 3 years moving the people in the company, getting them accustomed, getting the integration worked out, as well as generating sales and, maturity, so that we didn't want the company that was built with 200 plus people to just be acquired and gone under. So we spent quite a bit of time on that, but then I realized that going and working with them won't help me in going international. So I exited the company back in 2008. Yes. And had a non-compete. I couldn't work in Pakistan for the next, when a deal happened in 2006, I couldn't work for the next 5 years. So, and the overall conditions in Pakistan wasn't very, very good either. It was a lot of, there were a lot of security issues around in the country. So then at that point, the closest point to us was Dubai. Dubai was the...
so did you effectively start again in Dubai? Is that how that happened?
Yes, we started from scratch. With 2 people back in Dubai in 2010.
But the business in Pakistan, is that now part of the group or is that completely separate?
Yeah, so back in 2012, when this non-compete wasn't there,
when it finished,
so we built the company back in Pakistan because...
a new company you built?
A new company.
Okay, right, understood. Yeah.
Actually, when we sold the company, we didn't sell the company. We sold the assets of the company. We gave the people, we gave the running contracts. The company just became a shell company, and I couldn't do business for 5 years in the same domain. But after 5 years, I built the company back in Pakistan because it acts as a very good base in terms of technology, know-how, manpower, and those expertise at a very competitive cost. Plus, when we came back to Pakistan and started exploring the market again, the customers were very, very receptive. They wanted to work with us again. And now, as I speak, we are about 250 plus people in Pakistan. We are doing around $10 million of business. And it's a much it's still back in again as one of the top 5 IT companies there.
So it's a remarkable story, isn't it? You built a business effectively from scratch, so rebuilt a business. You've now got close to 1,000 people. Did you, and of course you're global, did you sort of start off with a very clear, this is the market, this is the opportunity? I guess it was a time where lots of these telecoms companies were rebuilding their networks with fiber and new technologies. Was it the sort of market opportunity that guided you, because you had tremendous drive to take those risks to do what you've done?
It's a very interesting question. So we were mainly in Pakistan. We had never done infrastructure solutions. We were never into wireless fiber implementations, the passive side of the world, I would say. We were on the digital solution side, working on cybersecurity, building data centers, automation in this space, And Dubai, for the first 6 months, we couldn't get any business, Wherever we were going, they were asking us, who are you,
Yeah.
So when you go into a market and you're entirely new, it's very difficult to break in because the existing
How did you
incumbents...
solve that? Because I've faced that problem many times, and I've always solved it by what I call a chicken and egg problem. I've bought somebody who has some credibility, and then I've built it from there. But clearly, you didn't do that. You just battled your way through.
So when I came to Dubai, the cost of living in Dubai was 5 times the cost in Pakistan. So I had limited capital. So I didn't have that choice of acquiring a company.
Yeah.
So I was working with a very clear mind that I need to break through a client, And whenever you guys been to Dubai, everybody was telling me, Jahangir, if you get business for one building here, and you'll be done for life, From that point on till now, you never get a building work. So we wanted to do digital solutions, but we ended up getting the first client as 𝗓𝗓𝗏. That was on the infrastructure solution side. And that is where we just built from scratch new capabilities. Because after 6 months, if you're not getting business, at least this was telecoms, right? It wasn't the telecom digital solution, but this was telecom infrastructure. So we got what we had. And for the next 3 years, we only did infrastructure solutions with 𝗓𝗓𝗏, with Do Telecom, and with other, the subsidiaries of telecom companies. And then we got into digital solutions, which was our core area. And luckily, getting into infrastructure solutions, what this has done is that like in UK, US, and Germany, there was more demand for infrastructure compared to other countries.
Because of the fiber rollout.
Because of the fiber rollout, because of the COVID, because everybody wanted, broadband infrastructure at the doorstep. Everybody was working from home. But the family, kids, and work and entertainment being combined, fiber just came as a necessity. And they didn't have so much expertise, they didn't have so much manpower. And the base in Dubai really became a driving force because Dubai was at the forefront of broadband infrastructure. Even when we started, Dubai was like at 80% penetration. And by the time in 2020, when it came to UK, it was about 99% plus. So huge amount of experience we gained. So before we touched UK, we already had 10 years of broadband
That just shows
fiber
you
infrastructure
how a
experience.
place with next to no infrastructure can put the correct stuff in straight away and leapfrog somewhere
Well,
like
that's always
here.
the way with the UK, isn't it? We're sort of we're behind the curve in many respects.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, your strategy. You sort of started off with a strategy expecting to be in this part of the market. You sort of adapted to the growth part of the market for nets at the time, and then you've sort of almost come back full circle to the digital part of the market as
Correct.
well. I think is that correct?
That's what we that's what we did in Dubai. We started with infrastructure. We got back into the digital solution side because we already had that understanding of the business. We already knew the people. We already knew the business understanding. And for us, it was just only the region was different. The customer was different. But the business is, the technology understanding, the implementation, the maintenance. The cycle is not very different. So in every place of the world, fiber implementation is fiber implementation. The customer will be different. There will be own nuances. But if you understand the business, it's easy to change the world. So we haven't changed the business wherever we have gone. We have just changed the region. We've just changed the country.
So where did you go after Dubai, and how did you transfer the expertise from Dubai to wherever you went next?
So from Dubai, we went to Saudi Arabia because the Middle East market, Saudi Arabian market, practically for all purposes, 50% of the entire Middle East market is the Saudi market. So you can't miss Saudi. Cisco was our client. We were giving them, we're doing resource outsourcing for them, plus professional services for them as white labeling. So they were very keen to transfer the expertise we had in Dubai to the telcos in Saudi Arabia. So we were working on packet core networks, and the only company which had X amount of people with the expertise were only in Dubai. So they said, "Why don't you go to Dubai?" I said, "We are happy to move to Saudi."
See, that Cisco story is interesting because what I found all through my career is if you work very closely with the vendor, they start to be your sales force as well because they're looking for opportunities because they can't grow without you growing.
Yes.
So they helped you to go to Saudi.
Exactly. It's
interesting.
I think it's like piggyback behind a giant, and they have such a large marketing force. They have such a large sales force, and that if once you build your repo, I'm like with Cisco now we're working in Dubai, Saudi Arabia, UK, and we're already touching base with them in Germany.
Well,
and
how do you
US.
find the people? How does it work?
How do I what?
How do you find the people? I mean, you don't just sort of turn up in a country and it all works. It's quite hard.
So on the people side, I think one of the things which has, helped us act as a catalyst for our business is the ability to train young and fresh people and take them throughout the journey. So most of the people old people that we carried on with the turnover rate, the turnover rate has not been more than 2%.
Staff turnover.
The drop rate, it's not more than 2%. So grooming them, training them on the field, on the ground, I think has worked very well. Plus, we used to have our own Nets Academy in Pakistan, and now we run it virtually everywhere. So in all our technology areas, fiber, cybersecurity, cloud, automation, and networking, we have different grades of training going on. Even in UK, we picked up fresh resources out of university. In 3 to 6 months, they were fully trained to go onto the field. So training people brings you loyalty. It builds you lower cost. And I think if you have got the loyalty and if you have got the competitiveness, then you grow. What can stop you from that angle?
And which of your markets are the biggest now?
Surprisingly, UK has become our biggest market. So we are expecting to touch about $60 million, and out of that, about I would say about $20 to $22 million is coming from UK.
So I was just going to say $60 million, and that's all happened since I think you said 2020.
Yes,
that's remarkable, isn't it?
No, I mean, $60 million. I mean, we have been growing about 30-35% every year. But I'm saying when we started in 2010 in Dubai, basically we started from zero.
At this point in the show, we wanted to just pause for a minute and tell you about our sponsor for this series of Billionaire Business. Nets International is a global systems integrator and solutions provider with over 40 years of worldwide expertise in telecom, digital and infrastructure solutions. Nets operates in 7 countries with 3,000 plus projects delivered across 26 nations worldwide. From fibre and mobile network rollouts to enterprise IT, cloud, cybersecurity, automation and managed solutions, Nets delivers smarter, faster and scalable solutions for its customers. With over 1,000 certified and skilled professionals and their own Nets Academy, Nets not only builds infrastructure but also offers managed services and flexible resource outsourcing to help businesses scale with confidence. Recognised as Cisco's Emerging Partner of the Year and Best Fibre Services Provider in the UK, Nets International is the trusted partner driving digital transformation and leading the charge in integrated solutions worldwide.
See, one of the things that's interesting there is you've done great in the UK with a different approach to people in the UK. We've almost forgotten at times how to train people. What you're realising is get people with the right attitude. They're probably not that expensive at the start. Train them through. and then suddenly you got
They're
a very
less likely to leave, aren't
yeah,
they?
and you got a great business. But let's do that a bit. So how many people have been with you a long time, and how do you stop them leaving? Do you incentivize them, or?
So multiple ways. I think it's very difficult with people. Some like a pat on the back. Some people are like just looking at dollars. Some people are just looking at their technical growth. So we try to do all of it. We have been awarded as the best employer award in Dubai multiple times. And then we have looked at bonuses, incentives, but I think the biggest thing is we have given the freedom to people to make decisions. Like our CEO for Nets Dubai, he was a mechanical engineer. He was 2 years out of college with no job. He started, with me. He was our second employee in the UK. So with us as a mechanical engineer, he had to wear hats of an HR, as a project manager, as a sales guy. And in 3 years, I made him the CEO. So like my father trained me, I try to train and give freedom of decision making to the people, and that has worked very well. Everyone likes to get an opportunity to explore themselves, to make a mark for themselves, and give them due credit. So I think it's a mix. I don't think dollars are very important. The salary is very important, but I think it's really letting people unleash their potential and giving them opportunity really makes them stick around. Plus, we've always tried not to fire people. There have been so many cases we have gone through difficult periods. Like recently in Dubai, about 3 years ago, we lost our major contract, which was giving us about 50% of our net profit was a direct contribution from that
contract.
customers.
Right.
So overnight, there were 100 people out of jobs. So we shifted about 50 to UK. We shifted about, a few in Pakistan, some to Dubai. We never let anybody go off. So, and that has also been a drive for our business. We as a purpose of our company, is sustainable employment by reskilling people and creating and nurturing business opportunities. That's what drives me. And also I'm trying that the people around me, they follow the same mantra. It's working.
That is incredibly unusual. I mean, the vast majority of companies would have just said, we've lost a contract, lose all the people, go and start somewhere else again. And I assume that kind of story, where you've looked after everybody, stays with you for decades because it becomes who you are as a culture, doesn't it?
And I think another thing which has worked very well for us, and it is again starting as a family legacy, that a lot of people in Pakistan, they go outside for work. Like they went to the Middle East, they came to UK and US, and they work very well. So a lot of our initial contracts have come from those people. They introduce us to their bosses or the decision makers, that if you have found me good and effective, I'm a product of this company, So that has worked very well for us.
How do you decide which country to go into next?
To be honest, we went to Dubai because I couldn't go anywhere else.
But you then came into Europe.
But when he came, and I came to UK, to be honest, because my kids were at an age where they were going to university. So I said, I've already set up the business in Pakistan, Dubai and Saudi Arabia. So let's go to UK. Only when I came to UK, I realized that there is such a big shortage of fiber implementation contractors. It was incredible. Within 3 months, we got 5 contracts. I didn't have to sell. They said, if you get bodies that can work, just give us that.
But did you have a clear sense of what the differentiator was?
Honestly,
because there are lots of people doing what you do. It's not completely unique. I mean, what is the sort of what is that point of differentiation that drives you?
So, in terms of why clients got us, so 10-year experience in Dubai in infrastructure, number one. Number two, the people who, the skilled worker visa, which was started by UK, they were processing visas in 4 to 6 weeks. So when these experienced people came in, their productivity was very high. And these people were not looking at time to have to go home. They were migrant workers, committed to work, committed to make their impact in a new society. And they were loyal to us. So they worked incredibly hard, and we gave our customers a turnkey solution covering planning, designing, implementation, maintenance, a reliability factor that you don't have to worry about the work being done. It will be done.
So it's the quality of the work
And
the
reliability.
sort of the commitment to the client, which was different. You're going into America.
Yeah.
I mean, that is obviously an enormous communications and technology market, but a huge challenge
Yeah.
for anyone to go in. What was behind that decision, and what are the, you're obviously aware of lots of people who've gone to the States and haven't made it. What do you think will be the ingredient that makes you successful?
So one of our board advisors is 𝗕𝗂𝘃𝗏, who was my boss in 𝗚𝗏 Telecom. So the structured way of working, why do you go to a new country, started when we were in UK and under his guidance. He said, we have to go to 80 countries now. So he did a detailed working using ChatGPT, looking at the GDP rates, the penetration rates, the running contracts, what kind of funding is the government of that doing,
So you
what
had a
kind of
structured look at
labor
every
rate. So
country.
we did extensive working for about 80 countries, and we realized the next two candidates should be Germany and the US. And the main driver, that the penetration rate in Germany was similar to where we started in the UK in 2020. It was around 30%. And US was like in the middle of 20s. And they were bigger markets, because Germany is a much bigger market than UK, and US again is a very huge market, right? And a lot of penetration still to happen. So the choice of America and Germany was dominantly around penetration. Plus, our experience of these Western countries is that they pay on time. Unlike most of the Middle Eastern and Pakistan, the challenges are there in terms of payment. But here, the transparency.
We're not going to be too controversial naming countries where
No,
payment rates aren't. But just on the
I'm
States.
just saying, relatively speaking, there is more transparency in the Western societies, which helps business grow. And the time it took us to grow in Pakistan and Middle East, we have covered the same volumes in 1/3 the period.
It sounds like, if I'm understanding this correctly, that you're bringing in migrant workers so you have expertise and a labor force straight away, and then you're augmenting that with local people and training them up.
Yeah.
How do you find it in terms of visas transferring people around the world? Because some countries must be easier than others.
So yeah, that is the case. I think in UK we found the most of the people we got were from Philippines, India, and Bangladesh. Since we got from Dubai, they were already in Dubai. But these three were the most, and some people from Ghana. So all these 4 nationalities were fairly easy. I think getting Indian nationality is a lot easier. Pakistani is relatively harder. But since most of the people who worked with us, 70-80% are from Pakistan, and I'm from Pakistan, so our preference, one way or the other, was more, although we're not differentiating in terms of who we select, we don't select, but because of the backlog, this came in. And the combination was very important. One migrant worker with one local worker. So we try to maintain this 50-50% ratio. It keeps the customer happy because they're seeing the local interface language. The local interface learns from the experienced migrant worker. So the knowledge transfer also happens. And if one is reliable, the other becomes automatically reliable. So I think this mix is the key to success. And we also owe to the companies where you're operating, right? So it can't be that we just bring an army of people and we don't come in, train people locally, or we don't give the jobs to the local manpower.
It's all about the right people. Yeah,
Huh?
yeah. Can I just move on to the family business story? And I guess you tend to think of family businesses as being more risk averse. I mean, you are absolutely 100% proving the opposite. How do you see the advantages of having a shareholder structure which is largely, I mean, I know you have 1 or 2 external, perhaps manager shareholders, but it's predominantly a family-owned business.
See, in family-owned business, I think the one great thing is that we can't afford to fail, right? We don't have a backup of someone coming to our rescue and coming from societies where banking and fundings are not as easy as the Western societies. So we are trained not to fail. And the second is the belief systems. We believe that once you're hardworking, you're honest, and you have the knowledge, you will succeed. So that's the burning thing that has gone through. Plus, we operate within our resources. We don't like to go up and beyond. So by not loaning extensively, loaning we
With
also
debt,
do
for example.
debt.
Yeah.
We don't take
Yeah.
long-term debt. So
Yeah.
with short-term debts on a like what you call as a running finance when needed, we just don't go above what we can do, because we don't want to be in a situation where we are kept hostage. We have to fire people. We can't fulfill, and the commitment we have given to the customer, we don't deliver. That's very painful for us. So planning, whenever we do implementations or any project, is extensive. We just can't fail.
So
We can't afford to fail.
So what's
Chris
your
and
what's your
Ian.
ambition then? Are you trying to build a business to pass on through the family generations, or do you want to sell it at some point, or
Yeah.
what's the plan?
So what we're doing right now is a classic corporate governance exercise. We have already built we have made a group company, because we have realized creating these individual companies, we can't scale like that. So we created a group company where there's a group finance, there's a group marketing, group shared support functions. And we have created a board of that. It's already nominated and notified. And then for every country, there is a separate board which is kept in, which is a CEO, an external advisor within that country to bring in the local domain knowledge and access to clients, as well as the know-how of the local market. So the way we are going is, I realize that family-owned structure will not guarantee us sustainability. So we have to have the right corporate governance in the working. That is why we have taken this route. I don't want to be pressured by relatives, even my children, that we just should be there because we're just family. They should be there because if they deserve to be there, and they have to work their way up. In our company, like 800 plus people, hardly 1% of the people are from our family. So, and if we keep giving all the top posts or all the key attention to the family members, then the other people won't grow. If they don't see the potential to grow, and they see there'll be family bias, this would just stop the growth of the company.
But it's a real challenge, isn't it? Blending a more corporate structure with the best of what you've just said in terms of the family. And you said something which was a really nice thing to say, actually, about your dad, which was he sort of taught you to be decisive. And I think what you're saying with the family ownership is you have to be decisive, because you've got to make the right decisions. You've got to make the decisions. What you often see with very large corporates, where no one, there aren't that many people who have real responsibility, real skin in the game. They can sort of avoid making decisions rather than making them. And how are you going to keep the best of what you've built up, but have a corporate structure that perhaps is more relevant to a much bigger business?
So I think the major thing is the guidelines that we create, the TORs we have created. Plus, I think selecting the right people is the most important thing. Because if we get people who shy away from making decisions, they will mess up the business, right? So like Jim Collins says, if you haven't got the right people, you can't even get onto the bus. So I think the right people is very important. And again, decision making will be on majority. There will be timelines. I'm looking to be the group CEO at least for the next 1 to 2 years to ensure that we get the spirit going. Because to me, a company which is growing fast, which has to go and enter and adapt and be flexible to adapt into new cultures, new markets, quick decision making is very important. Quick but not rash decision making, And one of the things I learned from one of the John Chambers' book was, whatever decisions you do, think of this like a chess game. You have to go from one side to another. Sometimes you'll move one step. Sometimes like a horse, you'll move 2 steps to the left and right. And sometimes you'll act like a queen or like that a tower going straight in. So you have to plan your moves, that even if you get stopped in the middle, what are you going to do with that? Otherwise, people go forward. They take quick decision making, but as soon as they reach the middle stage, where the assumptions are proved wrong, they suddenly have bamboozled what to do. So play this
What
business
are
like a chess game.
What are the next
where
moves?
you have to get
What are the next moves, Jahangir? I mean,
So-
where do you see this business being in, say, 5 years? Because it's a remarkably high growth story.
So we have set a target that we are going to touch at least $300 million by 2030. That's so by 2030. And we are looking into detailed discussions with our teams on how to change the structure, where to get the best people, because we believe in get the best people for the best roles. And looking at what our market shares are, looking at the competition, all these things are being looked into. Growth in the existing countries, which new countries to go to, and as we speak, we are going through. We have been engaged a private equity firm to raise the right amount of capital to make sure that we can continue to grow at this pace. For right now, we have grown with organic investment. Organic investment has been investment made and just reinvesting because we haven't taken any significant loans or anything. It's been
This is a remarkably inspirational story for all family businesses that are listening. I mean, one final question from me. To anybody else who's out there running a family business, what advice would you give them?
hire the best people and think of yourself as not a right decision maker all the time. Build the right team around you. And also, as I said, always think about the end goal and your purpose. Like Simon Sinek says, has to be bigger than business. If your only purpose is to make money, I think you will never be continuously motivated around the difficulties that you'll go through. So like our purpose is to sustain employees, to nurture opportunities. And this keeps me motivated every morning I wake up. Otherwise, you make certain amount of money, you relax, and then, money alone is not a big thing.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much indeed.
Absolute pleasure. I couldn't think of a better way to end with that advice, Jahangir. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Ian and Chris. Pleasure.
Ian, there's a lot of things to learn from Jahangir, right? It's a family business. It goes global. He sort of reinvents himself. He leaves Pakistan, reinvents himself. But one sort of consistent theme is growth, isn't it?
30 to 35% growth year in, year out. I mean, most people can do that perhaps once, but to keep it going for a long period of time, that's not an accident. Let's go back to Dubai. I find the story of what happened in Dubai fascinating because he'd sold an IT business in Pakistan. He wasn't allowed to set up another one, so he went to Dubai. What most people would have done is just set up another IT business in Dubai, but he didn't do that. He sat there for 2 or 3 months, looked at Dubai and said, what's the fastest growing part of the market and how do I get involved? That is a massive lesson. You don't do that every 5 weeks, but every 5 years or so, I reinvented my business 3 times by doing that, right? And he realised that building networks and super fast connectivity into all the buildings in Dubai was what was needed. So he wasn't frightened of just starting again.
It's one of the great definitions of an entrepreneur, isn't it? Because he did the same thing in the UK. He goes in, he sees the fastest growing pieces of the market, which the time he went in were fibre, and he builds a business around that, but with people at the heart of the business, I suppose.
Yeah, and I suppose that there's a big lesson there as to how do you decide which country to go into next? I mean, they obviously built a very clear criteria, almost like a checklist, if you like, and he had to look at 80 countries, did you hear that, before he decided Germany and the USA will be the next 2 that will do.
I think he's in 7 or 8, is that right?
Yeah, he's in about 8 now.
Yeah.
But they've won contracts in 20-odd countries. It was very interesting to see their approach to how they enter new countries and how they transfer the skills.
It was, and people, again, and training are at the heart of what they do. I think maybe half the workforce in the UK might have come from Pakistan or from, other countries, but half are from the UK market, and training them up with the academy is probably not something we're that good at in the UK.
No, it's very interesting to say, what do you do first? We arrive, we bring skills in, we build an academy, and we start training local people so that at the point where we have to leave and go somewhere else, we've developed that skill set wherever they go. It's a very structured, very impressive approach, to be honest, because it clearly works, doesn't it?
Well, it does. So he understands his market. He comes into a market where he hasn't previously operated, but he's got the right people. He is an insurgent, a sort of disruptor in that marketplace, but he understands what proposition will work. But I think at the core of it is back to the people, isn't it? Because ultimately, it's through the people that you get customer engagement, customer satisfaction.
It is that, but it's also relationships, because it clearly has, well, Cisco, he had an extremely good relationship with Cisco, and it was Cisco who said to him when he was in Dubai, we want to get in Saudi Arabia, but we need somebody who will sell our equipment. Shall we work together? It's much easier when you work with a big global company and you do it together. So it's very rare that you find a family business that decides to go global like this, but there's some huge lessons to learn from what he's doing.
There's a lot of lessons, and he is the archetypal entrepreneur. You know, he just wants to start new businesses, grow them, spot the market opportunity. You know, I can see Jahangir going all the way.
It's one to watch, isn't it?